kind of have to just focus on yourself and not try to pay attention to the global purpose of younger is the way.
Women get older and men get
older,
dignified or character.
Did you ever consider quitting as an artist?
Yes, I did consider. I didn't know if I could take the pressure, and I didn't know if I could do it all, or, I was asking myself a lot of what-if questions.
I could accept getting older, but I don't plan to disintegrate.
Pop music is ultimately founded upon escapism. It allows you to fall through the looking glass, offering an entrance to an alternate world, a sonic sanctuary that whisks listeners out of their trauma, their routines, and ultimately their everyday life. It's a genre that eventually bites back. Pop is all about the fantasy of perfection, the fairy tale of accessing the unattainable, reaching somewhere over the rainbow, somewhere only youth exists. Pop is fantasy. Pop is youth. As a result, the mere idea of simply celebrating older artists feels like an unwelcome disease to the foundational dogma of youth that rules the promotion of pop. There's always been a ticking time bomb placed around the necks of pop stars, and this imminent destruction had little to do with the quality of music and more to do with the passage of time. Pop is prejudice. Pop is ageist. For this reason, many pop stars were often forced to lie about their age, as a matter of survival. Geri Halliwell claimed to be 21 when she debuted with the Spice Girls when she was actually 25. Nicole Scherzinger claimed to be 28 when she was 30. And Anastasia pretended to be in her early 30s before admitting she was actually 40.
Why the age was always so different in the papers is because I could never remember what it was. They're like, and how old are you, Anastasia? And I was like, 27. 1975, yeah.
And if we look at how little representation women over 40 have in the charts, lying about your age seems like the clever thing to do. Cher was the oldest woman ever to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 at age 52 with Believe in 1998. That's over a quarter of a century ago. And since then, only 2 women older than 52 have hit #1 in the US, Mariah Carey and Brenda Lee, with 2 well-established, decades-old Christmas songs that they recorded in their youth. So although technically they were above 50 when they achieved the chart topper, the songs originated when they were under 25. In the UK, Kate Bush at 63 was the oldest woman to top the charts when Running Up That Hill had a resurgence thanks to Stranger Things. However, again, this song was an established top 3 hit in 1985 when Kate Bush was in her late 20s. A woman over 50 hitting big with a new original song that was not recorded in her youth honestly rarely stands a chance.
He's a great live performer, and there aren't that many great live performers out there from the new generation, and it's pretty much vacuous. Anastasia isn't vacuous, it's full-on talent.
If we take a step back to the glory days of European noughties pop, Anastasia was a unique but dominating force. Her leather-lunged tone was distinctive, her eyewear was eye-catching, and she seemed to be in direct opposition to the trend of sickly, emaciated bodies that became the beauty standard of the time. She became the world's best-selling new female pop star in 2001, her debut album going 4 times platinum in Europe, driven by the global smash I'm Out of Love, the biggest selling song of the year in Australia and New Zealand.
I'm Out of Love was a pure kind of dance record, and it's one of the greatest dance records of all time.
Success continued with her next 3 albums, Freak of Nature, Anastasia and Pieces of a Dream, which all included anthemic bops such as Left Outside Alone, Paid My Dues, One Day in Your Life, Sick and Tired and I Belong to You. In many European territories such as Germany and Italy, she was one of the top 3 selling female singers of the decade, and with the best-selling European solo tour of 2004, her success curve seemed endless. However, things quickly descended into a crashing mess. Anastasia prematurely left her record label Sony before her contract ended to follow her A&R guy David Massey, who originally signed her. Out of loyalty, when he moved to Mercury Records, so did she. The new label had a new image for Anastasia. Gone were the glasses and the leather, her long blonde hair replaced by a short barrel curl. Negotiations took a year, and in 2008 her 4th album was released, which would permanently impact her mainstream career. Heavy Rotation moved away from her signature sound she successfully recorded and toured with. For the first time in her career, she had no writing credit on the lead single. Instead, Ne-Yo wrote the underwhelming I Can Feel You, arguably one of the worst comeback songs in pop history. The album felt like an inauthentic attempt at finally launching Anastasia into the US, a territory much like Kylie that never saw much success for her. Fans who adored Anastasia for championing the underdog and staying true to herself felt like the singer had gone against the ideals of her career. Her personality and signature sound had been ironed out into a generic R&B mess. The project sank like a lead balloon. Her first 3 albums all went triple platinum in the UK. This barely cracked the top 20. She soon parted ways with the label and would not release another album of original material until 2014, this time however as an independent artist with BMG. And although her next record was a critical success and reincorporated much of the sound and imagery of her early works, without a large budget to publicise her work, promo was inconsistent and muddled. The album did manage to crack the top 10 in the UK and Germany, but quickly fell off and was forgotten. Now, if you want a more detailed analysis of what happened to Anastasia's career, you can find a full video on my channel. But in summary, the next decade or so of Anastasia would see a number of reality shows, excessive touring, one rather poorly produced album with little to no promo. Her career was swiftly fizzling out.
You ever consider quitting as an artist?
Yes, I did consider. I didn't know if I could take the pressure, and I didn't know if I could do it all, or, I was asking myself a lot of what if questions.
Until the German producer had a slightly cynical but potentially lucrative idea.
Literally be seen as Anastasia the singer again it's a big deal.
Anastasia finally released her next lead single, Best Days. The album was a collection of cover songs translated into English, a somewhat cheap marketing tactic to drum up sales for Anastasia in a territory that was historically quite successful. Best Days, although a legitimately great feel-good anthem reminiscent of Take That's Greatest Day, and with a summary video, was released in April of 2023, and yet received absolutely no promotion anywhere. 2 more singles were released. Both received no promotion, and only one received a video, if that's what you could call that amateur no-budget iPhone mess. The album was originally described as a project interested in introducing German songs to a wider public.
To search for songs so that I understood it and I could bring it to other places.
However, the album was only physically released in Germany, only received promotion in Germany a week before its release, and so it became quickly apparent that this was a niche, novelty album not intended for worldwide exposure. Nevertheless, in spite of its train wreck development, it debuted at number 2 in Germany, her highest charting album in 19 years on that chart, a feat that seemed impossible only months prior, and ultimately, it became a solid stepping stone to help fund an album of original material at a later point. It went on to peak at number 5 in the Austrian charts and number 8 in the Swiss. Nevertheless, the victory felt bittersweet as Anastasia was forced into karaoke territory to restore chart success. Reviews were mixed. Renowned for Sound stated that Anastasia's voice is as powerful as ever, while Retropop made the point that although Anastasia is still at the top of her vocal game, it's a shame that she didn't bounce back with new material that captures the magic of her golden era to reintroduce one of pop's finest voices to a new generation. You have a soulful diva shackled now to torch songs while still capable of so much more. But what about Anastasia? She still has untapped potential and should not be underestimated. With the right team behind her, could we see, if not a commercial comeback, at least a creative one? But what do you think? Thanks for watching. I'm Diva Talk.